Hello, welcome to Advanced JavaScript Tutorial, Chapter 10, JavaScript, New Keyword, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about the new keyword in JavaScript. We know that we can create an object using new keyword, but in this session, we are going to learn about the steps it performs while creating an object. So here we have a simple code snippet. Okay, here we have a function demo, and this function demo is having a property called x, and the value attached to it is y. Okay, and what we are trying to do is we are trying to create an object of this function. Okay, with the help of new keyword. Okay, and what we are trying to do is we are trying to access this property. Okay, obj dot x, obj1 dot x. So when I pass this to our alert function, we'll get the output as 100. So let me show you this output. It's very simple. So here comes my Visual Studio Code. So let me create a function first, and the function name is demo. It includes this dot x is equal to 100. So now what I'll do is I'll just create an object of this function. How do I create? With the help of new keyword, and that's the thing we are going to learn right now in this session about the new keyword. So now I'll call this obj1 dot x. Okay, and I'll pass this to the alert function, this entire thing. I do Ctrl S. Now I'll go back to my folder and I'll double click on this demo.html. So you can observe we'll get the output as 100. Okay, this is very simple example. What I show you is I just showed you how to create an object, but the intention of this session is when it creates an object, what all the steps it's going to perform at the background. That's the thing we are going to learn right now. Okay, and let me jump to the presentation. As I said you, in this example we have created an object of demo using new keyword. This demo function is called a constructor function. This is very simple, and the new keyword, what it does is it constructs and returns an object of a constructor function, that is demo function. Okay, this is very simple. I hope you understood this. Now what we are going to learn in the next slide is when I create an object, okay, at the background, what are the steps it's going to perform, the new keyword. It's very simple. The new keyword performs the following 4 tasks. Okay, as soon as I specify where obj1 is equal to new of demo function, what happens is it creates new empty object. Okay, it creates like this. Okay, it creates a new empty object, first step. And the second step, it sets new empty sets objects. Okay, it sets this new empty sets objects invisible prototype property. Okay, this empty object will be having a invisible prototype property. Okay, what it's going to do is it sets that new empty objects invisible prototype property to be the constructor functions visible and accessible prototype property. Okay, what's happening in the second step is this new empty object will be having a property called prototype, but that property will be invisible. Okay, and what happens when we create object is this empty invisible prototype property is going to be accessible to this constructor function. Okay, that's the meaning of this second sentence. And in the third sentence, third point, what it is, it binds property of function which is declared with this new keyword to the new object. Okay, suppose in the function we have some properties specified with this keyword. Okay, what happens is when I create an object, it binds the property of function which is declared with this keyword to the new object. Okay, that's the reason we can access okay, all the properties of a function with the help of the object. And coming to the fourth point, what's happening here is it returns the newly created object. Okay, it's going to, suppose if I am having in the function demo this dot x, when I create an object of that function, okay, then I'm trying to access that variable x. So what that object is going to do, it returns the newly created object unless the constructor function returns a non-primitive value. Suppose if my function contains a return statement, then the compiler will return. If it does not contain a return statement, then my compiler will return this at the end of the function. But if my function contains a return function, okay, then that will be ignored. To understand these four tasks very clearly, I hope you understood bit, but if you not understand very clearly, let me make you very clear with the example present in the next slide. Okay, first is it creates an empty object. The second point is it sets the invisible prototype of empty object to the constructor functions visible and accessible prototype property. And third is it binds all the properties and functions which includes this keyword in the function, and it assigns to the new object. And third is it returns the newly created object unless the constructor functions returns a non-primitive value. If the function contains a return statement, then that will be ignored. Okay, these are the four rules you have to keep in mind, like what happens when exactly you create an object using new keyword. To understand this very clearly, what I'll do is I'll jump to the next slide. Here I have a code snippet which explains you the working nature of working thing of new keyword at the back end. Okay, here I have a function demo, and this function demo is having two things. One, it's having a property, the value is 100, and it's having a variable myvar and the value is 1. And let me ignore this as of now. And here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create an object of this function demo, and the object name is obj1. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to access the property present inside this function. obj1 dot x will get the output as 100. I'll ignore this. I hope you understood this whatever I explained till now. Let me explain you the working culture or working nature of new keyword as of now. Okay, keep in mind, when I create an object using new keyword, okay, that new keyword, what it does is it creates an empty object. Okay, it creates an empty object. It sets that invisible prototype property. It sets the new empty object will be having a property called prototype, but it will be invisible. Okay, what happens is it sets the new invisible property of an empty object prototype to the demo function. Okay, so you can observe here very clearly we have assigned the new property called y using demo.prototype.y, and the value is 200. So in the sense, if you're having a function, to that function if you want to attach a new property, how can I do that? I can do that with the help of this demo dot function name dot prototype dot the property name is equal to the value. I repeat, if you want to attach a new property to a function, you can achieve in this manner. First you have to call the function name, then you have to attach this prototype keyword, then you have to then you have to assign the property name, then the value. Okay, so what happens is, so new empty object, so what we have done is we have created a new property and assigned the value y. Now the new empty object will also have the same prototype property as the demo function, which includes y property. Okay, and in the third step what we are trying to do is, okay, it binds all the properties, and the functions declared with this keyword to the new empty object. Okay, here my object is obj1. What happens here is it binds all the properties with this keyword to this empty object obj1. Okay, and here you can observe very clearly demo includes only one property x which is declared with this keyword. So new empty object obj1 will also now include the x property. So that's the reason we can access the value of x here. Okay, and you can observe very clearly here also in the demo function it also includes myvar variable which is not declared with this keyword. So myvar variable will not be included in the new object. Okay, it's very clear. In the function, if we have a property defined with this keyword, and this property will be attached to this obj1. Okay, and this myvar will be not attached to obj1 because it is not defined with this keyword. Okay, I hope you understood. And in coming to the third and fourth step here, these two things, okay, what we are trying to do is these two will return this newly created object, what it contains. This newly created object, it contains x and y. Okay, and when I try to pass it to the alert function, they'll display the values present inside them. But you have to think another important point, that is demo function, it does not include the return statement anywhere. But what happens is when you execute this piece of code, the compiler will implicitly insert return this keyword at the end. Okay, so here you can observe very clearly, thus the object of a demo obj1 will be returned using this new keyword. Okay, these are the four tasks you have to understand very clearly, like what happens when you make use of this new keyword at the back end. Okay, and another important point you have to keep in mind, suppose if you want to add a new property to a function, then how can I achieve that? It's very simple. You have to first call the demo function, in the sense the function name, then you have to keep the dot notation, then you have to call this prototype keyword, then again the dot, then you have to give the property name, and you can assign the value whatever you want to the particular property. This is how you can attach a new property to a function with the help of new keyword. Okay, I hope we understood the 4 steps which happens at the background when we make use of new keyword. Now let me show you a demo of this. It's very simple. Let me jump here. So let me create a function, and I'll name the function as demo. So this dot x is equal to 100. Before that, let me add one variable is equal to 1. And now what I'm trying to do is, okay, I'll create an object obj1 is equal to new demo. Now what I'm trying to do is obj1 dot x. Now in the next sentence I'm trying to access that obj1 dot x. Control S. Now when I go and execute this page, we'll get the output as 100 as of now. Now in the future, if I want to add new properties to the function demo, then how can I achieve that? First you have to call the function name, then the prototype keyword, let me check out, yes, then let me assign new property name as y, and the value is 200 to it. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll access that. Now this obj1, now what happens when I execute this piece of line is it's going to add a new property called y to this function demo. Now I can access with the help of this object the value of y. So just copy and paste this obj1 dot y to control S. Let me go back and let me refresh. Here you can observe we are getting the output as 100, and here we'll get the output as 200. But you have to understand, suppose what I'll do is if I try to access this myvar variable which is not declared with this keyword, what happens exactly? obj1 dot myvar, and I'll pass this to this myvar. Now when I do control S, let me go back and refresh, we'll get the output as 100, 200, and this is undefined. Okay, why? Because this function demo, it does not contain a return keyword. So this function demo cannot return this myvar variable when I try to access this myvar variable as a property. Okay, so how can I get the output? What we should do is we should insert the return keyword. Okay, and I'll paste it at the bottom. To control S, and here let me come here. So what I'll do is I'll call the function itself, so that function is going to return me my var value. To control S, let me go back and let me refresh the 100, 200, and the value of my var is 1. So object will be having the capacity to only fetch the properties of a demo function, which includes this keyword, not the any other variable declared other than this. So this is what we learned in this session, like what is the work it's going to happen when at the background when we create an object using new keyword. And that's for the day. And another important point you have to keep in mind, these 4 steps, 4 tasks, what the new keyword performs, it will be helpful for you guys. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting this URL. You can also follow us on Twitter. For further reference of our websites, we are on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback. Thank you. Have a great day.